Hi, SQL folks. Hope you can hear me. Welcome once again to another webinar from SQL Maestros. Today is part 4 of this series on SQL Server weight types. We did part 1, part 2, and part 3 over the last few weeks. Part 4 was supposed to happen on July 11, but we ran into a few technical glitches, so we are doing this today on July 25. Before I begin, can I have a quick show of hands? There are so many people today, about close to 200 folks. 200 of you have joined from different parts of the world. I just want to make sure that all of you can see me, you can hear me, and you can see the screen. The PowerPoint is up there. So if you can please confirm in the chat window. And as always, please also mention your country. Which country have you joined from? So like good morning, good evening, good afternoon, what time zone you're in, which country are you from? Responses in the chat window. Yeah, for everyone to see. Okay. Glad to see a very good global participation as always. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have folks from India, from UK, from US, from Trinidad, UK as well. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining. Okay, so let's begin. Today is part 4 of this webinar series. By the way, how many of you attended the previous parts, like part 1, 2, and 3? And even if you did not attend live, did you get to watch the recordings before coming today to part 4? Okay. Some of you did all the parts, 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. Some of you did only the first one and the second one. You missed the third one. Okay, some of you have not seen either from 1 to 3. Okay. Well, no worries if you have not seen 1, 2, or 3, or you have missed any of them before. So because all the recordings are available on sqlmaestros.com, you need to jump over to sqlmaestros.com, go to the recorded webinar section, and you can get the recordings for all the parts. I know some parts are free, some parts may be nominally priced. So I will strongly recommend that you can take a premium membership on SQL Maestros. It's an annual membership. And with this membership, you can watch all our advanced content, the advanced videos, the tutorials, and you can watch all the webinars. You become a premium member, so you can just watch all the content on sqlmaestros.com. Please note that premium membership has a very small price tag to it, so it does not contain the all-in-one bundle or the masterclass recordings. It's only for the premium video lobby. The premium video lobby will have advanced short tutorials and all the webinars. Just one more option before I begin today's content. Just want to make you aware, because this was something that was just done like 2 days before. You might have been on sqlmaestros.com a couple of times, and you might have come across SQL Server Performance Tuning Masterclass recordings, the 40 hours deep dive content. If you subscribe to that, you get lifetime subscription. Now, if you take that, you will get a premium membership absolutely complimentary. So in case you take up the masterclass recordings, 40 hours, you can club premium membership along with it. So just go to the cart, add both the products to the cart, and apply this discount code. I'm giving it to you right here, which is Master SQL. You can just take a note of it. So all you have to do is add premium membership to the cart and add the 40 hours masterclass recordings to the cart, apply this discount code Master SQL, and you will get all the discounts on the recordings, and you will get premium membership free. Okay. That's just to make you all aware. Okay, let's get started with today's content part 4. And for everyone to be on the same page, I'll just quickly do a quick recap of part 1, 2, and 3. What we really covered. I'm not going to go into the content really. In part 1, we talked about the basic, the very fundamentals of what your query is doing. It is either running, or it is waiting, it is runnable, or it is sleeping. There are a few more things, technically speaking, from a computer science perspective, but generally your query is either running, it's doing something, it is runnable, which means it is ready to run, but it's waiting for its turn on the CPU. Remember, your hardware has limited resources. It is sleeping, which means the thread is active, but it's just not doing anything. And this one is important for us, the waiting one, which means it's waiting for some resources. And that's like where the query is halted, it is paused. And business users will perceive that as a performance problem. And you, as a SQL Server DBA developer, practitioner, re- site reliability engineer, Azure data engineer, SQL Server data specialist, whoever you are, you're troubleshooting what your query is waiting for. SQL Server thankfully records what your query is waiting for, and that is where this waiting and queuing framework comes into picture. In this waiting and queuing framework, you have a wait type. There are hundreds of wait types that you might have to deal with. If you look at the numbers there, starting from 2005 to 2022, there are so many wait types. Not all of them are known, but some of them are popularly known, you commonly see, and this is where we start our troubleshooting. So you have this wait type. When you have a wait type, which means your query has encountered that, then there are certain statistics related to it, which means how many times your query encountered those wait types, how long it waited, etc. All that is collectively called as wait statistics. Two important DMVs, that is like your bread and butter when you're dealing with SQL Server wait types. The first one is sysdmos wait stats, and the other one is dimos waiting tasks. The first one is a cumulative aggregated stuff, and waiting task will give you more real-time information. Okay, this was important. This is available in part one. And just to let you know, part one is free for anyone. You can just go to sqlmaestros.com, become a free member. Free member. You don't pay anything, and you get access to all the free content, including free webinars. Part one is free. So do watch this slide where I explain what really goes on a virtual processor. A thread, the lowest unit of execution, when it is running, then it goes into the waiter list, and then it becomes runnable again, and then it starts running again. Then again, it is waiting and goes to the waiter list, so on and so forth. So this model is really important, the SQL Server thread execution. And for us, the right side is where it is important. You know, the waiter list. What is your thread waiting on? And that is how it is. You know, you have the wait types, you have the queues, and you have the stats. What really do we mean by queuing? Where is this queuing concept coming in? So you have a resource and you have a thread waiting for that resource. You might have another thread waiting for that same resource. So it has to queue up. It is like a FIFO model, sorry, which is first in, first out. And that forms a queue. Think about a table, let's say an orders table. So a business user wants to read data from the orders table, but the orders table is logged by another user. So you have the first user that is waiting on the orders table, waiting for access to the table. Then you have another user coming in who also wants access to the orders table. Well, the first user is already waiting. So the second user also has to wait, and then it is waiting in a queue. That is where this concept of queuing comes into the picture. First in, first out. The moment the orders table is available, you will have the first user getting access to it. Provided it is a non-exclusive access, then all of them can also access, but still there is a queue. Okay, we also talked about then, where do you really get all this information about wait stats? Yes, the DMVs are the first things that come to mind, but that's not the only place where you may get or extract the wait information. You have the DMVs, you have extended events, you have the properties window, so on and so forth. The bottom right, you see the baseline database. This is what we are going to do today, is how do you extract, you create your own database and you put some information in there, and so that you could analyze later. We are going to do all that stuff now. Some more questions, but that's like advanced stuff, which we cover in our masterclass. Okay, there were common wait types that we talked about. System wait types that you need to ignore. We talked about that. And then part two and part three, we went a little deeper into some of these wait types like CX packet, CX consumer, and exec sync. This is what we did in part two. And in part three, we did page page latch, resource semaphore, and thread pool. You need to watch part two and part 3 to really see what we have done. With each weight type, we identified it, we diagnosed it, and we fixed it. So basically, if you recollect, we ran scenarios, we stimulated SQL Server, we stressed SQL Server, and we created situations that your query will encounter these weight types, and then we tried to troubleshoot them. What are we doing today? Today, we are going to monitor. So we'll do real-time monitoring. We're going to analyze weight stats data. And then we are going to do something tricky, which is baselining. You're going to create your own baseline database, record information there, and then query your own database for weight information. This is what we are going to do. Okay, so let's run into demos now. Are you all ready? Yes, all good? Let's press escape on this one and jump over to the VM. Can you please confirm if you can see SQL Server Management Studio on your screen? Okay. Wonderful. Okay, friends, lot of code today, lot of code, lot of demos. I am sure I will not have enough time to do everything because we are going to pick up content from our masterclass. In case you were curious as to what really masterclass content is, this is what it is. It's very exhaustive, very detailed, very deep dive, and full of practicals, very few slides, more focused on demos. So what I'm going to do is I the weights module itself in our masterclass is pretty huge. So I will not be able to do anything and everything when it comes to today's demonstration. So I'm going to pick up a few things randomly and show you the part 4 content. Okay, so let's jump into SQL Server architecture, scheduling, and weights, and let's go into monitoring weighting tasks. And let's open this file, monitoring weighting tasks. Okay. Now, if you look into the most basic code that I generally run is, and any analyzing, any analysis will really begin from something like this. In part 1, 2, or 3, I told you about this DMV, right? Sys select star from sysdm OS weight stats. This is cumulative aggregated information. So what you will see here is all the weight stats. So you can see 1070 weight types here. But simply running a select star on this DMV doesn't make any sense at all. So you could see what are you really going to do with this kind of output? What you have to do is, obviously, you will have to order by wait time in milliseconds. That's the most basic thing we do, which gives you access to the top weights. And then when you see those top weights, you also got to filter out these system weight types. So we say where weight type not in all of these. And you know what? This is not the complete list. There's more. I'll show you the code in a while where this is probably up to date with a lot of these system weight types. The best way to really keep this up to date is as we take these scripts, run it in production, and we come across these system weight types that do not make sense, we take them and we plug them into the code and we update the code. So if I run this in full, in totality now, you will see this will make sense now. Okay, so on my VM here, it's just a demo machine. And you can see there are a lot of these weight types that are coming on the top, and look at the counts there. And then you have the wait time in millisecond, etc. Now, SOS work dispatcher doesn't seem to be a weight type that I need to really bother about. This is one of the system weight types. So what I'm going to do is just copy this, right? Go to my code there, put a comma there, and then just plug it in. And my code gets updated. And then I run this again. And now SOS dispatcher thing is out of the analysis. This is how you got to make sure that you only have user weight types here. All of these like exec sync, cx packet, lckmx, etc., which is of concern to us. All right. Now, this VM that I'm running on, which I'm showing you the demo, I have been running it for a few days. So it has a lot of these numbers. I don't want to clear off these numbers. There is a way to clear off these numbers. You can reset this DMV, so to say. You can clear out. What's the code for that? dbcc SQL perf sysdmos weight stats clear. If I run this, I'm not going to run this right now, but if I run this, everything is reset to zeros. So you're resetting this back. You will have a question that can you run this code and can you clear off DMVs like this? Just plug in the name of the DMV here. Will it reset everything? No, it doesn't. This technique is only available, is possible with two DMVs as far as I know, which is DIM-OS wait stats and latch stats. So wait stats statistics and the latch statistics can be cleared off this way. I don't know of any other DMV. If you come across, do let me know. Okay. So we're not going to do this right now because I just want to do a few analysis first and then we will clear them off. Now, monitoring waiting tasks. So when you have these numbers, right? Like I'm just going to show this to you again. All of you folks are pretty intelligent, like you have these things. No, you can do a lot of mathematics with this, right? You can do a lot of aggregations on these groupings, filtering, sorting. I mean, you have this like a spreadsheet. Feel free to do anything that you want. That is analysis of cumulative data, aggregated data since the time SQL Server is running, or when the last time it was restarted, or when was the last time this statement was ran. I mean, any of those scenarios, from that point onwards till now, these numbers are cumulative. The problem with these numbers is it just does not tell you things related to a specific workload or a query. It is all cumulative and aggregated. This is useful in some scenarios, but not useful in many. And the thing that I am going to show you next is useful in other scenarios. Okay, so we'll discuss that also in a bit. Okay, now that was an example of looking into aggregated information. What about monitoring stuff real time? So of course, when you talk about real time, you are going to deal with sysdm OS waiting tasks. When you are dealing with waiting tasks, you can also join with exec sessions and exec request, which will give you some more information about the session. So let's just go and execute this right now. So you can see a empty result set because there's no workload running right now. So let's go and run some workload. So I hope when I am running these, oops, what am I doing? What am I trying to print? Sorry, I just clicked on print by mistake. Let's just go and edit this. And okay, this is calling execute client. So I'm just creating 10 instances. Hope these is all good. Okay, let's add a few clients. Let's double click this. And now while those workloads are running, let's go and execute this. Okay. Waiting for a few seconds. Okay, there you go. All of them are on async network IO, really? Things closed down pretty fast. Let's do this once more. Slow SQL Server just makes things very slow. Okay. Stressing SQL Server. Okay, anyway, I was expecting a few more wait types. So what you can see right now is session ID, each session ID, the wait duration, and the wait type here. In real world, you will see a lot of different wait types coming in. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to analyze on a real-time basis which session is waiting on which specific wait type and the duration. A few things are missing here, and we can make this a little more intelligent by even getting the query plan and the SQL text. This is going to be more expensive query because for each session you're extracting the text and the query plan. You got to be careful when you run scripts like these. These are all diagnostic scripts. So if I execute this right now, nothing is running, but just to show you session ID, exec contest, wait duration, etc. Now, instead of running this entire workload, why not let me just quickly create a simple scenario so that you could just understand this a little more clearly. So we'll use Adventure Works 2016. Let's go. And we can just write a begin tran and create a wait type, a wait scenario on our own. We can say Okay, let's update a table called person dot person. Okay, and let's say set last name is equal to Bansal, and we can say where business entity ID is equal to 1. Now, if I run this and I'm leaving this as an open transaction, and in another window, we'll say select star from person. Okay, let's change the database to AdventureWorks 2016, person. Now, of course, this query is going to wait. Right, this is a waiting scenario. Now this is going to wait. You can see the query is running. Let's go back and run our intelligent stuff here now. Okay, just not stressing SQL Server too much now, just with one session. So what do you get is session ID, the wait duration, how long we are waiting, the wait type, which session is blocking it. So 78 is being blocked by 79. Remember, this blocking session ID only comes when there is a blocking wait type. Otherwise, it will be null. You get the resource description also. How do you really decode this? The page log, the file ID, page ID, DB ID, etc. And then you have sub resource, all of this stuff. I have a video on our YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com/SQL Maestros, right? youtube.com/SQL Maestros. I've explained this entire thing, resource description, in one of the videos. Maybe if you could just search on wait or resource description, might be you'll come across this. And then program name. And this is interesting. You get the text as well, and then you get the query plan. So if you click on this, you are able to see the complete execution plan. In this particular case, it's a very simple select statement. But otherwise, if these are more complicated wait types like resource semaphore, IO completion, you will probably see big execution plans and issues with hashing, spilling, sorting, and whatnot. Execution plan really helps in troubleshooting slow running queries and probably gives you indication. Okay, so this was a more meaningful, when you're extracting the text and the query plan also. But remember, if you're really running this kind of code on your production where you have like hundreds and thousands of users hitting SQL Server, and for each of those queries that are really waiting, you want to extract the SQL text and query plan, it becomes a tough call. This query itself might add some overhead on SQL Server. Okay. Then you have another one here, which is a little more detailed. Let's just go and execute and see the output. Okay. Okay, now you have the node ID. Okay, you have CPU time, how much CPU this is being consumed. And I think in this specific case, we are dealing with parallelism a bit. In case this is a CX packet, then we are also looking into resource description. Because in CX packet, what happens? You have multiple threads. So that section gets a bit more detailed. Okay, this is something that I showed you earlier as well. Okay, so let's just close down this section now. Okay, so I'm going to, of course, the moment I roll back, that query is going to run. Okay, you roll this back, this will now run. And if you go and monitor, you will not get anything now. So let's just go and run this, and you're going to see an empty results set. Okay, straightforward stuff. All this is really very basic stuff. So what I've shown you in this part of simple demonstration is when your workloads are running, how are you going and analyzing, troubleshooting on a real-time basis? You're not doing much of analysis, but more of troubleshooting, trying to understand what is going on, all the threads that are running, what are they really waiting on and for how long? And then you might want to take some corrective actions based on wait duration. You have the SQL text and the execution plan as well. Okay, hope this was useful. Now we'll move into the next part here, which is capturing this kind of information using extended events. I want to see some show of hands here. Have you ever used extended events to capture wait information? If you want to watch the remainder part of the webinar and all the remaining demos, you can subscribe to the webinar on SQLmaestros.com and get lifetime access to the recorded webinar. All you have to do is just go to SQLmaestros.com, click on the recorded webinar section and get access to all the webinar recordings. There are many of them. Some of these webinars are free and some of them are very nominally priced. So the ones that you're interested in, you can subscribe to them and get lifetime access. Now, because there are so many webinars, subscribing to each webinar might be a bit cumbersome. So we have another option, which is SQL Maestro's membership. So the first link on SQL Maestro says join. If you click on that, it will bring you to SQL Maestro's membership. Things are very simple. There are two membership levels. The first level is free, where you get access to all the free webinars and all our tutorials and demos, more than 200, 300 demos and tutorials. All you have to do is just become a free member. You're paying nothing and you get access to all of them. So you don't have to go and subscribe to each webinar individually. Just become a free member and then explore the free video lobby. So if you go to the video lobby here, there is something called as free content where you get access to all of that. But then all of us are interested in advanced content, isn't it? And that is where premium membership comes into play. So the webinars that are paid, and there are many advanced tutorials and demos. If you want access to all of them, you can become a premium member and pay a nominal price, which is annual membership. Once you do that, you can explore the premium video lobby. If you go to the premium video lobby from here, or just go to the video lobby and click on premium content, you can see all the paid webinars and all the advanced tutorials and demos and get access to all of them with your annual membership. Anyway, choice is yours. There's a lot of content on SQLmaestros.com, and you can also explore the YouTube membership level as well. So you have free content on YouTube channel, and you can also join and become a member of SQL Maestros on YouTube, where you can pay a monthly fee, get access to all the paid webinars and advanced content. So in summary, you can go to SQLmaestros.com and become a member, or you can become a member on YouTube also. Becoming a member on SQLmaestros.com turns out to be a little cost effective with the annual membership in comparison to YouTube monthly membership. But anyway, choice is yours, whichever platform you wish to use. Happy SQL.